Well, friends, Nagendra Rana here. So, the product of the day is protection against natural catastrophe and disaster risk. Protection against natural catastrophes and disaster risks. So, India is one of the Asia's largest economies and the world's second most populous country. It has a serious challenge as incidents of natural catastrophes increased sharply in recent years. So, exposed to hazards such as flood, earthquakes, storm, droughts, and landslides, low insurance penetration in the market points to a large protection gap that leaves its peoples vulnerable. Flood in Chennai in 2015, Northern India 2018, Kerala 2017 and 18 have prompted IRDAI and the Natural Disaster Management Authority to devote efforts to boost insurance penetration. In May 2020, a small but historic step was taken in India's northeastern state of Nagaland to opt for disaster risk financing through insurance protection, which can lead to a big leap in the country's efforts to strengthen resilience. With Swiss Re as its reinsurance partner, Tata AIG General Insurance Company Limited has linked a memorandum of understanding with the Nagaland State Disaster Management Authority to provide insurance protection for the monsoon season. In addition to protecting the state treasury's balance sheet, the transaction enables Nagaland to build fiscal resilience against natural disasters. So, this is the time to step up insurance coverage for natural calamities. In a climatic vulnerable country like India, natural calamities hit the poor harder in terms of loss of assets and income than the rich, widening the inequality. Widening the inequality. So, what is the status of inequality in India? All India Debt and Investment Survey was released by National Statistical Office to promote inequality in the distribution of assets both in rural and urban areas as at June 18. That says in rural areas the top 10% of the household owned over 50% of the assets, whereas the bottom 50% owned just 10%. In urban areas, the inequality was more visible, with the top 10% owning 56% of assets and bottom 50% owning merely 6%. The Gini coefficient at 0.678 for urban areas exceeded that for rural areas at 0.615. So the median Gini value for the coastal state was higher than that for non-coastal states, implying that frequent natural catastrophe as one of the reasons for acceleration of inequality in asset distribution. So what is the significance of insurance coverage in this regard? See, against India's disaster history, its geographical position and the vigorously changing climatic conditions, one of the protective means is to protect the lives and assets through insurance cover. The natural calamities hit the poor harder in terms of loss of assets and income than the rich. So the World Bank paper on climate insurance 2017 observes that insurance solutions bolster early action during a disaster and speed up recovery to restore livelihoods and rebuild critical infrastructure. What interventions have been made regarding insurance coverage? The World Bank, the Global Facility for Disaster Reduction and Recovery, along with partners, are developing insurance solutions to help vulnerable countries manage disaster risk through a portfolio of financial instruments. So the World Bank Group's Global Index Insurance Facility provides risk transfer solutions and index-based insurance to small farmers, micro entrepreneurs, and microfinance institutions in developing countries. The International Finance Corporation is also active in this space. Germany, the UK, the World Bank, and GFDRR, over 30 NGOs and private sector partners have launched Insure Resilience to upscale the climate risk finance and insurance solutions in developing countries. In India, the standard policy for fire and natural perils is issued under fire insurance cover natural calamities. There are policies derived from the basic wording such as industrial old age cover, and in many other policies, natural calamities are mentioned as a specific perils covered. So, how can the insurance coverage be expanded? Sustainable development must consider investing in disaster risk reductions in a cost-effective manner. Low insurance penetration in India must be addressed by motivating people and increasing their insurance awareness and literacy. Insurers must be persuaded by IRDAI to market specific disaster insurance products, especially for rural areas, which is the worst hit. Increasing per capita income would incentivize people to consider risk transfer mechanism as a major solution. Adequately designed insurance products providing cover for the core economic property, both individual use and public utility, can help the government develop a resilient response mechanism. IRDAI and insurers shall formulate a framework with weather module based insurance solutions to bring adequate financial relief to end users. So the government may establish a guarantee fund for insurance incurring catastrophic losses due to payment of claims on account of natural disasters. So natural disaster risk in India has to be seen in this aspect because due to its geographical locations, seismic risk zone, and intertropical convergence point, the Indian subcontinent also faces recurring atmospheric phenomena, heavy monsoon rains, flood, episodes of high heat, drought, etc. Considering the frequency of recurrent floods, droughts, severe weather or conflict in different locations across India. So development results for women and children, particularly from marginalized communities, are adversely impacted or compromised. So in addition, the high popularity density in risk areas further aggravates the situation. The number of human casualties continues to rise from 1,674 deaths in 2015 to 2,045 in 2019. So according to the report of the United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction, the total number of people who died between 2000 and 2019 is 79,732. So during the same period, India had reported 321 catastrophic events. So it is the third country in the world in terms of number of natural disasters, behind China and the United States. According to the same report, India has suffered nearly 80 billion US dollar in economic losses in 20 years, a reality that is often overlooked in program development and policy making is that children are the most at risk from the impact of natural disasters and conflicts. So, some of the most frequent disasters include floods, earthquake, cyclone, heat waves and droughts, heat wave and droughts, and then catastrophic health insurance is also an issue because catastrophic health insurance is an expensive type of health insurance policy designed to offer coverage for major medical expenses, preventive care, and emergencies. So, these are the catastrophes which are directly hitting India. Now, the question is what is the impact of these catastrophes on insurance industry? Because in this era of technological revolution, human beings have achieved incredible advancements in the area of modern technology. We have just completed another decade, and the new will likely be the decade of artificial intelligence. So, despite the tremendous advancements, what human beings have not been able to surpass is the supremacy of nature. Nature has always proved itself more powerful than any kind of technological progress. That is why, after all this time, we still depend on Mother Nature to lead our basic life. Probably this is the cause that even after so many scientific advancements and weather predictions, we have failed to prevent catastrophes most of the time. Thank you very much.